Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to work with data tables using Microsoft Word. So I'll have a couple applications running. We'll do a little tutorial on this. So we're going to use Microsoft Word. Table features are found under the Insert tab. I need some data to work with though, so I'm going to go over to my web browser, and I have a recent article here about the Grizzlies beating the Bobcats, and I'm going to go through and we're going to work with statistical data from the basketball game, and I'll put this together into a nice looking table and then do some summary statistics. So let me zoom in just a little bit here so you can see this. So I go through this article, and it's just a typical article off the web there, and this is kind of a HTML table, but it's missing some elements. But here's the data I want to work with. So we're gonna log players' names, minutes they played, field goal attempts, field goals made, free throw attempts, free throws made, rebounds, etc. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a copy and paste. I'll grab this data here. Okay, and I'll just do, in fact, I'm gonna grab the top row too. Whoops, try that again. So I'm going to do a Control-C, copy it, and I'll bring it back into Microsoft Word, and I'll just do a paste. Okay, so I get my data in there now, and I need to clean it up a little bit. So I'll give you some examples where we need to do a little cleansing, I guess, of the data. First here, I got 5 players that have positions listed, and then the other 4 do not. So I'm just going to go in there, and I'm just going to manually delete. Usually when you bring data from one application to another, there's always a little bit of cleansing or cleanup of the data. Okay, so I'll do that. What else do I have here for characteristics? And let me zoom in on some of this here, make it a little easier to see. I have field goal attempts and then free throw attempts. You notice how I have a space between the name and field goals. And then I have, these little hyphens in there and all this stuff, minutes. So let's do something else here. First, we have player names here, so let's put that in there. Secondly, I got these hyphens. Let's take these hyphens out, and I'm going to use search and replace for that. So I'm going to say replace. I'm going to say everywhere you see a hyphen, let's replace it with just a blank space. Okay. So let's do one. I'll hit replace. Okay, so we replace that one, and that seems to work. Let me do them all now. Okay, so there is 19 instances of that, and I think we're complete. All right, so all my data is the same here. So we have a hard carriage returner, a line feed going from one record to the next to separate. And again, with tabular data, we're looking at rows and columns. To separate columns, we have a space in between there. All right, so let me see if I can use some of the features in Word here now to make this a little more meaningful. So here's my data. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to use the insert. Again, let me zoom in here just a little bit so you can get a good view of this. Under table, I'm hit this drop down, and instead of inserting a new table, I'm going to convert this text to a table. All right, and so ask for number of columns, number of rows, etc. I'm going to put a the limiting character I have that separates one column from another is just a blank space there. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I note that. Okay, so I'm looking for everything with a blank space, and that'll be a start of a new column for me. So I click OK, and yeah, it looks a little like magic, but recognize that the limiting character is really important, and that's why we cleansed our data first. But now I have all of the information that was in a text format, and I've converted it to a table. Let's do some other work here. Down here, I'm going to insert another row below this. Whoops. Let's try that again. I'm going to undo that, Control-Z. And I want to put it below this, not above it. Okay, so I go back up. I say Insert, a row below. All right. And here I'm going to put some totals in. So I'll start with, let's look at the total points here. I'll start over in this far column. I'm going to go over my layout, and I'm going to put a formula in here. And yes, might come as a surprise, but I can use formulas in Microsoft Word. They're not nearly as full-featured as they are in a spreadsheet or a database, but there is a little bit of computations I can do here. So I'll click the Formula tab, and there's a variety of different formula functions I can do here. I'm just going to have it sum all the cells above it. So I'll click OK and see what happens there. And so I do that. I'm going to verify this. I show 75 points. Let me go back over to my article here, and I'll see right here that that matches up with what my news article says. And let's go up to the headline here. And so that's good, because right here it says Grizz won 75-61. Good job, Grizz. Okay. So let me do that some more here. Let's sum up the total number of minutes played. Okay, so game's 40 minutes, and you have 5 players on the court at any time. So that looks like that worked. We'll go ahead and figure out a formula for summing up field goals. What we got here? Assists or attempts, I believe. Okay. In fact, I'm going to put a little more data there on this. We'll say field goal attempts. Make that a little clearer information there. And here I'll put free throw attempts. All right. So let's look at free throws. Sum that up. Free throw attempts. Sum that up. Rebounds. Is that fouls, I believe. And assists. All right. Lastly, let's make this look nice now. So we can, once it's in a tabular form here, we can use some design features, and just by mousing over some of these, you'll see I get all sorts of different effects. Let's find something a little more colorful. Use this drop down. I see a whole bunch more will show up then. How about this one? All right, and then lastly, let's take this this bottom row here, and what else can I do with it? Let's boldface it. All right, and then this part, do we center this? I guess we're centered already. Let's make sure we're centered. Okay, that might clean it up a little bit there too. In fact, I'm going to center all of this data right here too. And that's where I'll stop. Whoops, got to do that last row too. All right, so that'll conclude that. So we can use Microsoft Word as a tool to actually compile data and then actually put some formulas in there too.